Charlene Bishop.
Ms. Bishop, good afternoon.
Hi.
Do you know a person by the name of Jeffrey Willis?
Yes, I do. Former husband.
Before I continue, I'm going to have to ask you to speak up just a little bit.
Okay.
All right? You don't have to be a rock star, but the jury does have to hear what you have to say, okay?
Okay.
So the louder you can talk, the better it is.
Okay.
All right. You said you do know a person named Jeffrey Willis?
Yes.
And how is it that you know Mr. Willis?
Ex-husband.
And how long were you and Mr. Willis married?
13 years.
And did you know each other longer than that?
Yes, 5 years before that.
So a total of 18 years, essentially.
Correct.
Did you have any children together?
No.
Now,
Symptoms.
okay. So as part of this training,
Mm-hmm.
that included what happens if you overdose or you're given too much insulin?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I want to show you another photograph. This is People's Exhibit 71. Had you ever seen that toolbox before?
No. The only toolbox I saw was a red one.
A red one?
A red one, and it had a bumper sticker on it from Florida.
Okay. So you've never seen this one?
No.
How about the, let's flip forward here. People's Exhibit 75. One second. This safe, you ever see that before?
No. Nope.
Were you aware at all, or did you monitor at all, any financial transactions your ex-husband would have done on sites like eBay?
No.
I mean, were you that? And I don't mean this I don't mean this disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
Were you that type of person or wife that kind of made sure you kind of knew what was going on, or not?
No.
Why?
He handled the finances. I would give him $500 check a month, and he would put it towards the bills. He had his own passwords for his accounts.
Okay. What were your interests?
Church. I taught a Sunday school class. I taught a teen girl class. I taught women to sew. I had craft Saturdays where I would go to craft at church with a bunch of ladies. The Wednesday night was sewing, Sunday was church, that kind of stuff.
As a result of the activities you were involved in, did that cause you to be out of town?
Yes.
I mean, how often would you say you would be out of town?
Once a year I went with the teen group. The particular year we went to Grand Traverse, the Wolf Lodge, with the teen girls, and that was when the kidnapping occurred.
So, okay, so the weekend of April 16th, 2016, were you in town that weekend?
No. I was with the pastor's wife and 3 teenagers.
Okay. Now, did you travel a lot, or do trips a lot with your church group?
We did a lot of female trips to the movies, weekend trips. We would go with the women's ministries.
Okay. Did you mentioned that you taught Sunday school? Did your ex-husband ever teach with you?
No.
Did he? I mean,
He did not attend
Okay.
regularly.
My question was, you sound like a person that attended church on a regular basis,
Yes.
every Sunday. Is that true?
Yes.
Did your ex-husband go with you?
No. On special occasions, once in a while.
Okay.
Like maybe a Christmas if somebody was somebody in my family was performing. He would come occasionally.
Okay. Now, as it relates to, I want to talk a little bit about the silver van. Was that a car that you and he shared?
We did share it for a while my car was hit in the front end.
Okay. And you remember when that was?
That was in July. Well, July to December, I had broken my heel, so I wasn't driving then. And the car accident actually occurred in November in Walmart parking lot. So from November to approximately February, when my dad was working on my car.
What year was that?
2015.
2015. Okay. So during that time period in 2015, you were kind of sharing that van.
Yes.
Prior to that, you had your own car.
Yes.
And were you the primary driver of that car?
Yes.
What kind of car was that?
Cavalier.
Okay.
Chevy Cavalier.
And your ex-husband, was he the primary driver of the silver van?
Yes.
And I assume after your car was fixed, you went back to your Cavalier?
Yes.
Okay.
He did not prefer to drive my car because of the size of it. He had not fit into it well.
Oh, okay. So it was smaller?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have any idea that your ex-husband was into the dark web?
No.
Pornography?
Not the dark stuff, no.
Okay. Were you ever asked by your husband to perform, and I don't mean to be prying and disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. Relevance.
I don't know what the question is.
Well, the question is whether or not she was ever asked to perform any of the sadomasochistic type activities.
Appears to be at this time that would be irrelevant unless you can establish why that's relevant.
Well, we've had a lot of testimony about his.
Well, maybe we better have this discussion out of it.
Okay, that's fine.
Since that's the jury's
Well, Judge, certainly we've had a lot of testimony just recently by Jerry McCarthy of the items that he discovered on the electronic devices, not only found in the defendant's house, but also tied to the defendant, as Mr. McCarthy described. In other words, finding documents, like password document with usernames and accounts related to the defendant, obtaining pretty graphic video. And so to me, finding out whether or not this was something that was shared between the two of them, I think is relevant. Or whether or not, if it wasn't shared between the two of them and it was a completely secret and second lifestyle, that's also relevant.
I don't see relevance. I'm not going to let you inquire from her sexual activity that occurred between she and her. I don't find it relevant.
Okay.
Okay, you may return the jury. The objection is sustained.
Thank you, Judge. People's Exhibit 73, that photograph. Have you ever seen any of those items before?
No. Not at all.
74. Hold on 1 second. You ever seen that before?
Absolutely not.
We already talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. Were you aware that your ex-husband had a registered handgun?
One, yes.
Okay. You know what kind? Are you a gun person?
No.
All right. Does that gun, hold on, and this is People's Exhibit 78, does that gun look familiar at all to you?
It's black, and it's a handgun.
Okay, that's all you can tell me?
Yep.
Okay. Do you know, or did you ever see in your house or in any one of your cars, van or your Cavalier, any toy guns,
No,
airsoft guns,
no,
any fake guns?
nope,
Never seen any in your house before?
no,
Not in your car?
no,
How about the van?
no. We had a
Um,
grandson and that was not allowed.
Okay. So you didn't allow your grandson to play with that kind of stuff?
No, absolutely not.
And maybe, Ms. Bishop, you can help with me by answering this question. Could you describe for the jury the type of relationship you had with your ex-husband?
Towards the end of the last 5 or 6 years, he went his way and I went my way. When we were together, it was a lot of abusive verbally.
Again, we're getting areas that are not relevant.
Sustained.
Okay. Let's not talk about
The jury will ignore the last answer to the question.
well, the last part of the answer or the entire?
Yes.
Last part of the answer or the entire
Well,
answer?
let's ask a different.
Let me ask a different question. And Mr. Johnson, if you don't mind, I'll lead so that we don't run into that issue. Are you
Ignore
okay?
the entire answer to the last question. The jury
We'll see,
did
Mr.
not
President.
consider the last answer.
All right.
Okay, you can rephrase it. So one of-
Thank you. You indicated the last 5 or 6 years, the relationship was essentially you went your way, your ex-husband went the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Were there open lines of communication between the two of you?
No.
Did you really know exactly what he was doing or not doing at all?
No.
And I'm assuming he really didn't participate or take part in what you were doing over
Nope.
the last 5, 6 years. Is that safe to say?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk about, do you recall back in 2013, police officers coming to your house?
Yes.
And why do you recall that?
Because the dogs were freaking out.
Okay. And were you home?
Yes.
And in fact, did you actually see the two officers at your door?
Not at the door. I saw them in the driveway looking at the van.
Okay. And at that time, obviously you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And if asked, if the officers asked your ex-husband to see his cell phone, was the cell phone at home?
Yes.
And was it available to turn over to the police?
Yes.
And you know that how?
He was home that day. He put his keys and his cell phone in a certain area by the door. That was his routine.
Okay. And you recall specifically seeing keys and cell phone there?
He grabbed his keys to go out to unlock the van for the police.
And the phone was right next to the keys?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall ever receiving a voicemail message? Before I ask you that question, did you have a voicemail machine at your house in 2013?
Yes, we had an answer machine.
What type of answering machine did you have?
I am not sure. It was a little cassette one.
All right. So it was one of those.
Older style.
That's a good answer to kind of a bad question. I don't really care about the brand,
Mhm.
but the messages were recorded on a micro cassette.
Yes.
Were you aware that in early June of 2013, Corporal Chris Hare called and left you a message on that answering machine?
No, I was not.
Did you ever hear that answer?
No.
That message for you?
No.
Did your ex-husband ever tell you, hey, look, Norton Shores kind of wants to talk to you. You probably want to call him and set that up?
No.
So you had no idea?
Nope.
Back during that time frame, did you have a pet?
Yes.
What type of pet did you have?
We had a chocolate lab.
And do you recall back in 2013 whether or not you had a dog kennel or a dog house?
We had a crate in the house. No dog house outside.
Okay.
No
So
kennel.
one of those plastic crates with the metal gate kind of thing?
Yeah, it was a metal, the top was metal and the bottom tray was plastic.
Okay. Obviously, at some point in time, police get involved in 2016, and your ex-husband gets arrested. You remember that?
Yes.
Now, do you recall receiving a letter from him shortly after that?
Yes.
And what was the contents of the letter? What was it referencing?
It was referencing what he had been doing the day Rebekah Bletsch had been shot, and what I remembered, or what he intended me to remember.
Okay.
I felt like he was planting memories.
And why do you say that?
Because it was on a Sunday, and I have a schedule on Sundays.
Okay.
At the time, it was Sunday school, 9:30 to 9:45 was when it started. Church at 11, lunch between 12 and 12:30 with family and friends from church, and then when I got home, a nap. And I napped until it was time to get him ready for work.
Now, was there any reference in that letter about clothing?
Yes, he said that he went to work with a dirty shirt.
And what can you tell me? What can you tell the jury about that?
That was not something he would have accepted.
Were you the person that normally did the laundry?
Yes, I did the laundry and it had to be done.
In the time frame that you guys were together, did he ever go to work with a stinky shirt on?
No, never. That was not acceptable.
Now, as part of you recall turning over some documents, writings to, I think, Detective Sparks.
Yes,
And
writing samples.
Writing samples.
Mhm.
And the writing samples that you turned over to Detective Sparks, were those samples that you recognize as having been composed or drafted by your ex-husband?
Yes, one of them was actually a resume that he had edited.
Okay, in like
In
pencil
his,
or pen?
yeah,
All right.
yes,
So the things that you turned over to Detective Sparks, you recognized as being things that your ex-husband wrote?
yes, they were directly from our filing cabinet.
Okay. Now, I want to talk to you real quick about Mr. Bloom.
Hmm.
Do you know him?
Yes,
Now, would there be an occasion where Mr. Bloom would be at your house?
he would stop and visit in the mornings, but he wouldn't come in. He
Was there
would pull in the driveway and the dogs would freak out. And then Jeff would either show up shortly after or he would go out to meet him.
Okay. So, did these meetings ever happen inside your house?
No,
And during some period of time, was there a monthly poker game?
yes,
Okay. And was Mr. Bloom part of that?
yes,
And how did that work? Did it ultimately sometimes end up at your house?
yes. Sometimes it was at our house, sometimes it was at his house, and sometimes it was at Bloom's father's home.
So, on those occasions, I'm assuming you would be home?
Yes,
And was it just Mr. Bloom and your ex-husband, or were there other guys involved as well?
there were others.
All right. How many total? Do you remember?
Jeff's brother, some 2-3 friends.
Okay. Did those poker games stop?
After a while they did, yes.
All right. When did that
They stopped at our house.
stopped at your house?
Mhm.
Okay. Was there anything significant that had happened that you can remember?
Just his vulgar language.
No, I'm sorry, that's a bad question.
Mm.
Why did they stop, or what event happened that ultimately caused these poker games to stop?
Room. There wasn't room in our kitchen. We had 2 dogs. Just his behavior.
Okay.
He wanted to talk about things that happened.
Hold on.
Okay.
The last comment from the witness will be stricken, and the jury may not consider it.
In particular, do you remember when Jessica Heeringa went missing?
Yes.
Did the poker games continue after that or stop?
Stop.
Had it been going on a routine basis up to that point?
I believe so, yes.
All right. Now, was there ever a time that you can recall where maybe Mr. Bloom was inside your house when neither you nor the defendant were present?
On one occasion, yes.
Okay, and how long ago was that?
Years.
We say years, 5 years, 10 years?
5, maybe more.
Okay, and how is it that you came to find out that he was present?
The toilet was plugged, and Jeffrey called him and talked to him about it, about stopping and using our bathroom. And Kevin said that.
All right, hold on. Don't say what he said.
Okay.
But let me ask you this question. Based on that conversation, were you able to confirm that he had been in your house?
Yes.
Now, as far as you know, was that the one and only time?
Yes.
In particular, as it relates to the van, if the van was present at your house, what did that typically mean?
Jeff was home.
If the van was gone from your house, what did that typically mean to you?
Jeff was gone.
All right. So, was there ever, at least from your independent memory, was there ever a time where the van was gone and Jeff was at home?
No.
I'm sorry, was that?
No.
No? Give me 1 second. I have to ask you one last question. I apologize for this, Ms. Bishop. The person we've been talking about, your ex-husband, is he in the courtroom?
Yes.
Could you point him out and describe what he's wearing, please?
Yes, he's over there.
What's he wearing?
A suit and a blue tie.
Blue tie?
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, let the record reflect as witnesses identified the defendant. Yes to that identification, Judge? I'm sorry.
I want to make sure.
Oh,
Well, I don't think, yeah, yes, she's making it.
okay.
I don't think so.
Thank you. I have nothing else.
Ms. Bishop,
Yes.
good afternoon. My name is Fred Johnson. May I ask you a few more questions?
Yes.
All right. Now you mentioned that you have an insulin, I'm just calling it insulin pump because
Mhm.
it's the easiest way for me to remember.
Okay.
You have an insulin pump that provides you with the medication you need. Is that correct?
Yes.
And over the course of time, over the course of years, have you ever had to rely on injections when the pump failed?
Yes.
Okay. How often would you say that has happened? Or how many times, I should say?
Maybe twice since 2005.
Okay. And did Mr. Willis ever have to provide you with an injection?
He was taught.
He was taught how to,
Yes.
but you don't recall whether or not he actually injected you himself?
No, the 2 times that I do remember, he called the ambulance.
Okay. And isn't it true, ma'am, that there's did you say there was a monthly doctor's?
Every 3 months.
Every 3 months.
Mhm.
And every 3 months, isn't it true that Mr. Willis would have driven you to the doctor's appointment?
Occasionally,
Okay.
mostly.
Okay, so when he drives you to the appointments,
Hmm.
would it surprise you to know that he had a supply of medication just in case the pump failed on the way over there?
I don't see why he would.
Okay, but you
He
didn't know.
called, when I needed it, he called the ambulance.
Okay, but it's possible that he had a supply, just in case the ambulance doesn't get there in time, or your pump fails and you're on the way to the doctor's, or whatever the reason might be.
The insulin is for a high, not a low.
Okay,
And I was having lows.
all right. So there would never be an occasion when the see, now I'm a little confused. Were there occasions when the pump failed,
Yes.
and you were required to take injections at those occasions?
Yes.
Okay. Is it possible then that your husband, your former husband, had a supply of whatever it was necessary in case you were in his vehicle and the pump failed, or you needed the supply?
It's possible he took it, yes.
Okay. Ma'am, on the time that Mr. Bloom got into your home, you remember what you were just talking about, Mr.
Yes.
Silverfett? How did he get in, do you know?
We never locked our door.
Okay. So the door remains unlocked?
Except when I'm home alone.
Okay. And you, it sounded to me like you had a very busy, at least church schedule, correct? Yes?
Yes.
You have to say yes or no for these things.
Yes.
Okay, no problem. You're doing fine. And so there'll be times when you'd be out of the home.
Yes.
Okay, and don't worry about it. Obviously, did you have a video system or something in the home so you could see what's going on in your home when you weren't there?
No.
Okay. So in the times that you weren't there, you don't know who's coming over or what was going on in the home. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. One moment, please. Ma'am, there were a couple computers in your home at the time the police came and searched you. You remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember the one the gateway that was in the living room?
There were 2 computers in the living room at that time.
Okay. Do you know if they were both being used or not?
I do not know.
Did you use either of them?
No.
Okay. And your husband worked third shift?
Yes.
Slept during the day?
Yes. We weren't together very much.
Okay. Do you know whose computer the gateway was? Do you know who owned that computer?
Yes.
Who did?
James Batch. Well, I'm not sure James Batch owned it, but we received it from him. He was divorcing and had 2 houses, and then they decided to get back together, and he invited Jeff and I over to help clear out the house.
Okay. You recall about when you received that computer? I assume it was gifted to you?
Yes.
You remember about when that would happen? The year?
It was over a year.
It was over a year ago?
Yes.
Okay.
My mother had a heart attack at the same time Jeffrey was arrested.
Okay.
And it was while she was working. We were going to donate the things that we found in the house to her employer.
Okay. So how does that help you date when you received this computer?
She didn't work that whole year. She
Okay.
had to retire.
What year was that? You remember?
She retired 2016 in May.
Okay.
She had a heart attack in May.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't have any additional questions.
Just a couple follow-up, Judge. Is it typical to keep an emergency, I'll call it insulin pack in a locked safe?
No.
Would there be any reason why that would have to be secured from your view?
Nope.
Any reason why it couldn't be out in the open, let's say in the center console, just in case you had an attack?
Right. It could be.
Okay, so, okay.
Yes.
The other thing is, was there ever a time, outside of that one time that Mr. Bloom was in your house, that you ever noticed things disturbed, not in the right place,
No.
moved, that caused you that concern that maybe somebody was in your house?
No.
Was there ever a time when the defendant said, either to you or during a conversation, I don't know where all this computer stuff came from. I've never seen it before.
No.
I have nothing else, Judge. Thank you.
Very briefly, ma'am. We talked about if you ever noticed things were disturbed in the home. Both you and your husband had to run the home. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you had dogs in there and
Yes.
and these are black labs?
Chocolate labs.
Chocolate labs, okay. And so it wouldn't surprise you if you came home and found something like in the refrigerator moved or in the kitchen moved, that sort of thing. Because your husband lived there as well, didn't he?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I have nothing else, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.